Welcome back. Heavy rainfall across parts of South Africa has led to devastating floods, leaving communities in distress and causing significant damage. Tragically, lives have been lost as well, with reports of at least 3 people killed in a mudslide in KwaZulu-Natal. Many more have been displaced as homes have been destroyed. The Border Management Authority temporarily suspended 3 ports of entry, namely due to the severe flooding. Let's now get an update on the situation and the interventions underway. We are joined by the National Head of Disaster Management, Dr. Elias Sithole, as well as the Deputy Assistant Commissioner at the Border Management Authority, Mmemme Mogotsi. A very good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for making time for us. Dr. Sithole, let's start off with you. What are we looking like for the next couple of days, and in terms of the ability of emergency services being able to respond?
Yeah, good morning to the viewers. Yes, as from yesterday and today, moving forward, the weather is now clearing, and then our disaster team, they've been working on the ground, making sure that those communities who are trapped, we are able to rescue them, and also some of the communities who need assistance from the disaster teams, and those people actually do receive the assistance.
Yeah. Has there been any challenges in terms of assisting people that are actually in need of relief, considering the impact of this disaster?
Yeah, we've been reporting that some of the roads, they were affected as a result of the floods, and some of the villages that have been cut off, but we were able to reach those affected villages and communities, and then we provided the assistance to those affected.
Yeah. Was there any conversation at all, Dr. Sithole, that was held around whether or not the SANDF should be roped in to assist, especially in moments like these, considering, for instance, the aerial support that you could get from the SANDF when you have challenges around accessing roads?
Yeah, 2 years ago, the National Disaster Center signed an MOU with the SANDF. But before then, we were working with the SANDF very closely. In cases where we need the area support, we could always reach out to them, and they've always assisted us to assist the affected communities. But also, the SAPS also, they were able to assist us as well. So the security clusters during disasters, we've been working very closely with them.
Yeah, but in this particular instance, did you make use of the SANDF services?
Yeah, in this case, not yet, because we were able to assist those affected communities, but also we are examining a case-by-case basis in terms of those villages who have been affected and then they need area support. Then we could always reach out to them. But for now, we have not reached out to the SANDF because we're able to reach those communities.
All right. Mmemme, good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Tell us about the impact that this inclement weather has had on your operations, and also the decision to close down 3 of the ports of entries which border with Botswana.
Yes, the rising levels in terms of the rainfall Aldrin has forced us to suspend operations at 3 of our ports of entry, which are Pond Drift, Mogotsi, as well as Derde Port. The severe flooding has made it unsafe and impractical for us to operate in our areas. So as a result, we had to engage our authorities in Botswana and take precautionary measures to ensure the safety of our officials, as well as our travelers and the infrastructure that we are operating in. And we had to suspend operations at these 3 ports. So in this regard, at the moment, we have disaster management teams on site in the ports of entries, as well as engineers that are assessing the water levels that need to go down severely for us to make a determination whether we could continue with operations at the moment.
Yeah, a bit earlier on, Dr. Sithole was indicating that it seems as though that the inclement weather is subsiding. Do you take that into consideration at all when you have this meeting around the assessment around when you'll be opening those border posts?
Yes, definitely. But in this moment, we have to be advised by the engineers as to giving us clearance and certifying us that it is safe to continue with operations. You know, in the low density areas that we are working on, we need to ensure that all the water is taken out. We need to ensure that, you know, all the electrical equipment is not affected. And for us to resume operations, we have to ensure that, you know, it is safe to do so. And at the moment, we have employed contingency measures where we are advising travelers and commercial operators to use 3 of our alternative ports of entries, which are Ramatlabama, Kopfontein, and Skilspat Hek in the meantime, so that they're able to cross into Botswana.
Yeah. Dr. Sithole, I'm coming back to you. A bit earlier on, we played a clip from the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, MEC, in KwaZulu-Natal, MEC Buthelezi. One of the points that he stresses is that we need to have climate change resilient technology and infrastructure that we actually build in our various communities. Is that call being heeded? Because it's not the first time that that call is being made, and now you also have residents that are saying that the drainage systems that we have are not built for this type of water volume.
Yeah, as I've indicated that we have signed an MOU with SNDF. One of the opportunity in that MOU is to use the resources of the SNDF to unblock the drainage system. Number 2, also we want to start thinking outside of the box and bring the technology which we can deploy, which is aligned in terms of the risk which we are facing as a result of the climate change. So definitely the MEC, as he has indicated, there are plans in place of the reviewing the disaster management system in the country, and in that process want to make sure that we bring the technology on board so that as we move forward, we're able to capitalize to the innovation and technology which is available.
Yeah, and Mmemme, from the Border Management Authority side, are you having those discussions as well around the type of infrastructure that is able to withstand this level of inclement weather?
Yes, definitely, Aldrin. We are having those discussions with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure in terms of assisting us with resources for us to be able to, you know, modernize and ensure that we make our borders safe in terms of operations. So at this point, there are processes for us to, you know, do a bit of infrastructure amendments on the borders, but this will be a discussion that we are continuing with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure in terms of, you know, resources being brought on site and onto the BMA for us to be able to do so. We will definitely need to work on the infrastructure. As you are aware, there's a big project of developing 6 of our ports of entry. So it was based on those considerations, looking at, you know, the challenges that we sometimes experience with regards to the layout of the ports that we are operating in. So there is a need for us to work on the ports of entries that we are operating in.
Yeah, and for now, Mmemme, is it known the extent of the damage that has been caused in terms of infrastructure due to this inclement weather at these 3 ports of entry?
Assessments are currently being made by the engineers as well as committees, disaster management colleagues that are on the ground. They will be providing us with a report as well as, you know, the financial implications that will be involved in terms of, you know, ensuring that we resume back to normality, as well as giving us timelines in terms of when we can continue with our operations. So we are expecting a report that is based on the assessment that is currently being done on the flooding at the 3 ports of entry.
Okay. Dr. Sithole, the final bite from your end. When we have these disasters that take place, of course, there is the disaster management response, but then there's also the relief that is required by residents and people that have been impacted by these disasters. There has been concern that has been raised, again, going back to KwaZulu-Natal, where the government there is saying that it takes up to a year sometimes for people to get relief in terms of assistance from the state. Is there a conversation that is being taking place around how quickly the state is able to respond also with its relief efforts?
Yeah. If it happens that the communities have been affected, the immediate relief will then provide those immediate relief, for example, like your food and blankets and so forth, things which they can immediately use. But then we'll then go through the process where we request the municipalities to submit the application so that we are able to make funding available to repair those affected infrastructure so that it's easy for the communities to move from one village to another, or also even to go to town, or then the kids go to school. So from our side, we've tried to shortening the turnaround time in terms of assisting the municipalities. So yes, we might not do it overnight, but we've tried to make sure that once we receive those documents from the municipalities, we process those applications as soon as possible, but also we are working with NGOs because disaster management is everybody's business. We are working with the NGOs so that we're able to augment our resources when we're assisting the communities who have been affected by disasters.